Welcome, everyone. Good to see all of the members that we see often and others we don't see as often. It's so good to see all of the members out today. Also, we have several visitors we will introduce later, and we're so appreciative and blessed today to have two speakers. So we're going to incorporate one at the beginning and then the second one to close us out, and we're going to just gain a lot of good information and feel very blessed. At this point, we're going to open up with prayer, and Dr. LaBar will lead us in prayer.
Mark your calendars for the 16th of October, Saturday morning at 8:30. We're going to work on flags, okay? Now, as we go to our time of prayer, we want to remember Lindy, who's in the hospital today having some tests and stuff done. She's been having some medical issues. I don't know, not privy to that. And also Mike, the guy the valet, is in the process of having a double hip replacement. So he will be out for the next 5 or 6 weeks. So we need to lift up Mike too. So let's go to God in prayer. Eternal God, we give you thanks for the blessings of this day, for the possibility of rain in our forecast, for the cooler temperatures. It's truly a wonderful time of the year, and we give you thanks for it. We give you thanks for this club, its work in our community. We lift up those among us who are important to us, who are having medical issues. We ask that your grace and peace descend upon them and give them a sense of wholeness and peace. We ask your Spirit to bless this club, bless our work, bless this food, which has been prepared for us, to the nourishment of our bodies, and to keep us this day in your peace. In the name of the Christ, we pray. Amen.
Next, she has not arrived, so we're going to do our Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm going to call on Rick Lindsay would do a great job. Thank you. Thank you, Rick. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Join us as we have God Bless America, led by the best leader. God bless America. Okay, this time our President-elect, Mr. Shane Webb, will come forward and introduce our first guest speaker today. Thank you, Shane.
My pleasure, Madam President. And today, our first speaker is J.C. Beltran, and he is with the Beltran Advisory Group, and he is helping to unlock people's and businesses' full potential. So without further ado, I invite JC to bring us his good word.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Good afternoon. As a Marine, that felt really good. Felt really good, loved it. Thank you so much for the warm introduction. By way of information, I am the president and CEO of Beltran Advisory Group. What we do is we unlock potential individuals, teams and organizations. We do it 3 ways. We do it through a process called neurolinguistics, which enables individuals to remember what they've learned. We also do it through modern technology to track progress. Okay.
Otherwise, the people.
Oh, okay, great. We do it through modern technology to track their progress and ensure that they're learning and growing. And then lastly, we do it with over 50 years of financial experience. So in a nutshell, my background starts with growing up in an entrepreneurial or a serial entrepreneurial family where they would start new ventures about every 4 to 5 years. Not because they didn't have good ideas, but because they didn't have any levers, any way of measuring really their success. They just thought if they sell more, they become more successful. And it really doesn't work that way. They have to understand themselves so that they can lead themselves. And that was the one thing as I went to college, graduated and worked in finance that was frustrating for me. And that was ensuring that people knew themselves first and foremost. So I'm gonna give you just a little snippet this afternoon of what that looks like. And this particular tool here is called Know Yourself to Lead Yourself. And so what you're looking at is a infinity loop. And the infinity loop starts at the bottom where it says tendencies. Our tendencies lead to patterns. Our patterns lead to actions. Our actions lead to our consequences. And our consequences lead to our current reality. Okay? So oftentimes I meet with suspects, prospects, or clients. And they'll wonder, how did I end up where I am? Or I'm frustrated. I don't know how to get out of the funk or the challenge that I'm in right now. We can look back through the infinity loop and look at consequences, actions, or tendencies. I'll give you an example of this infinity loop. About 5 days a week or so, I go to the gym in the morning. And I found myself looking through social media about 10 minutes before I get ready to actually go and work out. Well, if I'm doing that every day, and say I'm going to the gym 5 days a week, that's almost an hour that I'm spending on social media. And so I'm, in essence, losing an hour a week from working out, right? So that's a tendency that grew into a pattern, that grew into an action. I'm looking at social media, that developed a consequence, and my reality is I was losing out on time, okay? So who do we affect in terms of leadership? Who do we lead? So this tool here is called the 5 circles of influence. We act intentionally, and sometimes we act accidentally. What we want to do is we want to ensure that we're acting intentionally every time. And so our circle of influence starts with ourselves. We influence ourselves through the things that we read, the things that we listen to, and the time that we spend doing whatever, that is that we do. Next, it's family, then a team, if we're in an organization. And then after that, it's the actual organization that we may or may not lead. And then lastly, the community or your colleagues within this room even, okay? So ensuring that we're acting intentionally is important. Now, here is the crux of my presentation this afternoon. This is called the Support Challenge Matrix. And so as I walk you through this, you can see the axis that's right in the middle pointing up, tells us that we're giving somebody high support. If we look down on that same axis, we're giving somebody low support. And then the one across to the left is low challenge, and to the right is high challenge, okay? Now, let me walk you through these 4 quadrants. The first one that we'll talk about is protect. Oftentimes we protect our family, or we protect the people that we work with. And it isn't necessarily that it's a fantastic thing to protect all the time, because what in essence happens is if we protect too much, we engender a mistrust. So if we're doing too much, then people feel like they're not trusted. That's basically the message that we're sending, okay? If we go to the bottom, we find that advocating or showing apathy or low expectations becomes problematic as well. Because sometimes as leaders, we're not, injecting and being mindful and purposeful and intentional in the people that we lead. Remember, the people that we lead are ourselves, our family, organizations, the people that we're around, the community, those that we influence, even the people in this room. And then if we slide over to the right, this one is extremely dangerous. This is the dominating portion. And if we're dominating in this particular quadrant, then we're telling somebody that, you may not be capable at all, so we're going to do everything for you. We're going to do those things even that you may do, but quite honestly, I don't have enough confidence, so I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. How many of you have worked for people like that? Right? A few of you, right? And it doesn't feel good. It's horrible. And you leave after a while. All right, so now we'll take a look at really where we want to be, and that's to be a liberator. That's to provide a culture of empowerment, a culture of knowledge, and most importantly, a culture of opportunity for those that we lead. Now remember, as we're looking at these 4 quadrants, we're also thinking about our family. So we can pan out a little bit to look at the 4 quadrants. So let's, for a second, take a look at this support challenge matrix and think to yourselves, where would I plot myself? Do I provide high support, low challenge, high challenge, and in what quadrant would I plot myself? And then as we pause and soberly think of that thought, where would others plot us in those particular quadrants? For example, one of the things that came to mind because, when I first came across this particular tool, I want to ensure that whatever I was giving, that I had somewhat of a mastery of it, right? I can't give those things which I don't have or don't possess. So I put this to the test. And as I looked at every one of my 3 children that are now grown, I thought to myself, at different times in their life, obviously I was in 4 different quadrants. However, at times when I should have been more of a liberator as a dad, I think I was more of a dominator as a dad with low support and high challenge, because I wanted them to achieve, especially with my youngest son. I wanted him to excel because I knew the potential that he had. But if I wasn't providing and being more liberating and providing more support and measuring the challenge, that could be a problem. So this particular tool, as we look at relationships personally, and even if you're no longer in the workforce and you're retired and doing those things that are extremely fun that I aspire to do pretty quick, you can still plot yourself and figure out as a parent, as a grandparent, where do I fit and what do I do day in and day out as a leader. So the title of today's message to you was, are you a leader worth following? Are you somebody that knows yourself so that you can lead others? Or are you accidental in those things that you do? And I'll hit the pause button for any questions that you may have. And if there are none, I'll stick around afterwards. If you have any, I'd be more than happy to visit, but I don't have another presenter. So with that,
Thank you for staying around. Well, definitely, I hope all of us are leaders of empowerment and opportunity and help everyone around you feel blessed. That always makes a difference. And thank you so much CJ, we enjoyed that, or JC. Now we're going to introduce our guest. Tracy, our secretary with the Rotary Club, will introduce guests. Thank you, Tracy.
JC, we have Ross Van Buren here. We have some John.
Woo!
We have Venegas and Elizabeth Griffin from the University of Dallas, who will speak with us now.
Okay, we have our director of membership, Lasaro's going to come up and give us an update about new members, prospective members, and what we're trying to help each and every one of us to get involved and grow the Rotary Club. Come on up. Lazaro, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President, and welcome everybody that is visiting us here today. As we continue, with our plan of growing the club, we have been able to do a little bit more research on the back end on some of the things and initiatives that we can start to attract more prospective members and get them involved with the different projects that we have. So we have our application that we have available now. We are working on converting this into an electronic version that you can just email to a participant, or whenever you have it as well, there'll be a QR code attached that participants, prospective members can either turn it in paper or electronically to make just the recruiting process a little bit more easy for anybody that wants to join. As well, we have the flag program that Pastor Labar was talking about on next week or the following week. And I know some of us participate every time, but we want to get more of the members to participate. So if you haven't been to a flag program, building flags in a while, I encourage you to come. We are going to be providing more content for Jordan so that he can post this to the social media channels that we distribute it to. So that we can show some of the good things that we're already doing in the community, like the flag program that provides scholarships. So the more content that we're able to provide for Jordan to contribute to the social media channels, I think it's going to help showcase what we're doing here. And then on our board meetings, we are coming up with different other initiatives that we can support as a club, which we'll be announcing here pretty soon once we finalize what some of the needs that are in the community that we are not already working towards helping out. So we look forward to continue to work as a team. And I think our board, just a little update, we have been working together with a group on the board to see how we can come up with better ideas to bring over more participants. I'm sorry, I run a running company, so I say participants, to bring in new prospective members to the club as we grow. So thank you again for your leadership. And if anybody needs an application for a prospective member, I have them available. And then you can take it, have it filled out, and the next week I can reach out to them and get them involved. Thank you.
All right, well, I'm excited. As a pastor, it is an important reminder that I need to be more liberating in my leadership as I believe we strive to be servant leaders in our community. So thank you again, JC. Our next speaker this afternoon is Clare Venegas, coming to us from the University of Dallas, which is a wonderful resource for our Irving community. So we are glad they are an integral part of our community. And Clare is the VP of Communications. She started her career as a reporter and editor at the Orange County Register, where she covered local and government news. She did a lot of various reporting in different papers throughout her time. And then she got to Texas as quickly as she could She just moved here from Orange County with her husband and 3 children. So we're excited to have her with us today. And Claire, welcome. And I hope you'll also bring us a good word.
Well, thank you so much, Pastor Shane. It is such a great honor to be here. As I was sharing with my colleague, Lizzie Griffin-Smith, who's joined me, she is our AVP for enrollment at the University of Dallas. I feel very at home here at Rotary. I had joined the Rotary in Orange County in the city of Orange, where my husband and I had been living, and became very active in that group. And my dad, actually, it goes back to my grandfather. My grandfather was Rotarian in the Philippines, very active, and he was a judge there as well. And so my father was the beneficiary of a Rotary scholarship when he was a high school senior. So he had the opportunity to study in Illinois from the Philippines, thanks to the Rotary. And so Rotary's always had a dear place in my heart. So hopefully I'll grab one of those prospective member applications on the way out. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how we want to handle the PowerPoint. I do have some slides to share with you today. Do you want me to? Yeah, so let me just pause and reintroduce myself. Clare Venegas, Vice President for Marketing and Communications with the University of Dallas, which is a wonderful small Catholic liberal arts college right down the street. And for those of you who don't know, I'll share a little bit of the history of UD. I'll also talk about why we're different, what kind of sets us apart as a liberal arts institution right here in our own backyard. And I'll share a little bit also about kind of where we are in the current moment under our current leadership. We're about to inaugurate tomorrow our 10th president of the university. And there's just a lot of exciting things going on. So with that, I'd like to share a short video, about 4 to 5 minutes, that'll give you a good overview of who we are.
honors college. There was going to be a smaller part of the University of Dallas that had something like our core curriculum. And as they studied what that would entail, they became more and more convinced of the fact that the best education for the best student needed to be the best education for every student at the University of Dallas.
Louise Cowan, who had been hired as the chair of the English department, at a faculty meeting said, "Why aren't all our students honor students?" In many ways, we are more articulate now about what we're trying to do and the kind of education that we're trying to provide to students. But what attracted me was the idea. I wanted to teach at a Catholic college, but I wanted to teach at a Catholic college that had very high academic standards. But what I found were the students who were serious about both the faith as well as learning. So I was very happy to come here. So maybe what it is I've changed a bit over time and have a deeper understanding of what we're trying to do as a group.
In most of my core classes, I have had these moments where it's just, there's been like a sort of feeling where something just clicks in my brain, and I can feel this sort of energy, and I'm really excited about what I'm learning. And I also feel like what I'm learning is really important, and I'd never felt that until I came to UD.
Liberal education is about the person and not about becoming trained for a professional career. The idea being that if you have certain intellectual and other skills, you will be prepared for a wide variety of future occupations.
I know as an alum what a great education those students have gotten. And I know that I'm going to get a good employee by going to a UD student. And I know a lot of alums feel that way.
The university has indeed had a lot of transition over the last several years, several decades. Somehow the university has retained its essence and its purpose. And I put a lot of the credit for that on the faculty. We have incredibly dedicated faculty members. When I first visited the University of Dallas, that is what blew me away. I just saw this as a place that is alive with a commitment to the intellectual life that has no peer anywhere. Our faculty love what they do. They love our students, they love our curriculum, and they are absolutely dedicated to the purposes of this institution.
The university is extremely important in the life of the Abbey. The university continues to promote a sense of Catholic culture, a place where the best of the Catholic tradition, the best of the Western tradition could be brought to the contemporary scene. And I think that's something that many, many people are looking for today.
And now, looking at what UD offers for the future, it's impressive to see the direction that the University of Dallas is going in and the impact it's going to have on future generations.
The fundamental purpose of this institution is to educate excellently our students. And that excellent education is the most basic principle when it comes to the formation of culture. This is how we're going to rebuild culture through extremely well-educated, truth-seeking graduates of the University of Dallas.
Great aerial shot of Irving area. So just quickly, some fast facts, some distinctives about the University of Dallas. We have quite we're known, especially in our undergraduate level, for the intellectual rigor and academic rigor of our curriculum. And let me unmute myself for those who are joining us. If you wouldn't mind moving on to the next slide. This is a little challenging. So at the undergraduate level, we've had quite a bit of accomplishment in terms of our academic scholarships. So in our history, we have 39 students who have achieved Fulbright scholarships, 9 who've won Goldwater scholarships. These are quite prestigious awards. And our student faculty ratio is quite small, 12-1. Average class sizes these days are about 19-1. So a much different experience for college students than at obviously some larger institutions. Some key statistics about our enrollment. This fall, thanks to Lizzie and her team's efforts, we welcomed our largest freshman class ever in our history. Our total enrollment now on the undergraduate level is about 1,500 students, and exactly actually 1,500 students. And at the graduate level, about 1,000 students. So this is the makeup of our current student population. At the undergraduate level, some highlights here. About 56% of those students at the undergraduate level live on campus. We have residential dorms and apartments. 27% of those of that freshman class are first generation students. So students whose parents never finished a 4-year degree. We're very excited about the efforts we've put into this area to try to give as many people the access and opportunity to a 4-year education here at UD. And it's also our most diverse class. About 32% of our class are Hispanic. In terms of majors and concentrations, we offer everything from business to theology, biology to computer science. A lot of people, I think, don't think of a liberal arts institution as having very strong science programs and mathematics, and we definitely do. In terms of our graduate program, we have 2 graduate colleges, one a College of Business, the Gupta College of Business, and we have a graduate liberal arts college that all of whom, offer everything from a DBA, doctoral in business administration, as well as PhD and masters in degrees like philosophy, teaching, art. We have a wonderful, beautiful art village called the Haggerty Art Village on campus that has wonderful facilities and studios for our artists and students. And in terms of non-degree programs, we do have a newly formed institute for ministry and evangelization. We offer certificate programs. Most of these individuals who take the non-degree programs are full-time working adults, many of whom are also volunteers in their churches and doing ministry on the ground in the churches. We also are responsible for diaconate formation for the Diocese of Dallas. And we actually offer our diaconate formation programs to many other dioceses throughout the country. So we do have quite a reach just outside of Irving alone. We can move on to just what makes UD distinctive maybe from other small liberal arts colleges. I'd say really 3 things. The fact that we have it, we're very focused on an intellectually rigorous curriculum, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Our graduates graduate with in-demand skills, primarily in the areas of critical thinking and communication skills and writing skills. Rick's nodding his head because he knows how rigorous those courses can be in the core curriculum. And our Catholic identities. About 60% of our students, at least our incoming freshman class, identify as Catholic. So we do have quite a few non-Catholics who attend who are really attracted to the liberal arts core curriculum. So a little bit about that curriculum. What does it mean? What do we define as our core curriculum? These are a set of classes, a sequence of classes that our freshmen and sophomores take that are really focused on studying the best of Western tradition, the best of Christian tradition in terms of, kind of really studying and looking and analyzing kind of the great works of Western civilization. And really, why is that important? Why does it matter? I think in today's culture where, we have so much the culture is really pervaded with a sense of relativism, right? That your truth is your truth, my truth is my truth. What we really focus on are those timeless truths, right? That we can discover by reading ancient texts, by reading Plato and the Greek philosophers, by really understanding what early Christians and great teachers in the church left us to understand about who we are as human beings. So that's really at the core of the undergraduate experience at the University of Dallas. And all of that translates into in-demand skills in today's marketplace. What we hear from a lot of employers, and maybe some of you are business owners, we do hear that soft skills are in demand, right? That we really are looking for people to join our teams that can write well, that can think critically, that can analyze a lot of data and make sense of things. These are the kinds of skills that University of Dallas graduates really walk away with when they graduate from our institution. We, of course, moving on to the next slide, are enthusiastically Catholic. It's an environment where faith is certainly celebrated, but also respected. We give students the opportunity to participate on campus. We have a church on campus. They participate in the sacraments. So faith does play an integral role in the student experience. And one of our biggest distinctives is that we have a campus just outside of Rome, Italy. And it's a lovely, I think, 20-acre campus. I have yet to go. I hopefully will be on one of these admissions trips, maybe, Lizzie. We have right now about 80 students studying there this semester. And so over the years, this Rome program has been one of our big distinctives for the last 50 plus years. It started in 1970. And we have a beautiful campus that actually does produce our own wine. We have vineyards there. So what a wonderful experience for a young person, 19 years old, 20 years old, to get to see the world. And not only see the world, but see what they're learning in real life, right? The core curriculum, learning about Greek philosophers, learning about early church history, to be able to see that in person and experience that is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and very life-changing for so many of our alumni. We can move on to kind of our impact, and I'll be wrapping this up shortly. But so what kind of impact does a UD education make? Certainly locally, we have a very high, what we call our first destination placement rate. So 6 months out of graduation, we survey that graduating class and those graduates to see what they're doing. 98%, upwards of 98, 96 to 98% are either in graduate school or in a career. They are certainly achieving and contributing to society as gainfully employed adults or pursuing future degrees. We have a very high placement rate for medical school, in fact. In the 80% consistently, which does rival that of Ivy League schools in terms of placing for medical school. And certainly law school, we have a very high rate of graduates who go on to law school. So where we are today, we are, again, as I mentioned, very blessed to welcome our 10th president of the university. Now, he's somebody, Dr. Jonathan J. Sanford, who has been our provost and served as the dean of the College of Liberal Arts. Tomorrow, we will officially inaugurate him as our 10th president. He's a young, dynamic, very energetic leader who comes to us from other Catholic institutions. He's a philosopher by trade, so he's been in the classroom, and that's his real focus. But he's launching a series of community and campus engagements, and these are really focused on the theme of arete. So the Greek word for virtue and excellence, and this is really kind of the virtue and the what centers and is at the center and core of our educational experience. So he'll be inviting notable speakers, nationally known speakers, and thinkers to talk about kind of how we can be in the work of renewing our culture. We hope that you'll continue to stay abreast of some of these engagements. We hope to open those up to members of the public as well. And as I mentioned before, we have quite a few Irving superstar alums. Irving Deputy Mayor Pro Tem General Al Zaponta is a UD alum, Councilman Mark Zeski, and State Representative Tan Parker, just to name a few names that you may be familiar with here. And we do also partner with the local community in Irving ISD. We have a UD Reads program where we provide books for free of charge to all of the Irving I believe it's junior high and high school levels. And we have an upcoming event that is a community-wide day of service. We're inviting our UD alumni and staff and faculty to join the students. It's really a student-led effort to be of service to the Irving community. And we will be doing that on November 6th. So you may also get some information. We're partnering with Keep Irving Beautiful for that event, but that is really a student-led opportunity for us to be out in the community and helping Irving specifically. So with that, I ran through quite a bit of information. I hope some of it was interesting. I hope I didn't bore you all to death, but my colleague Elizabeth and Lizzie are here to answer any questions you may have about the University of Dallas. And thank you so much for inviting us to present.
Thank you. Enjoyed the presentation and a reminder of the beautiful campus and all the wonderful activities I enjoyed just a few years ago. No, more than a few years. But it is a great school and I certainly enjoyed attending to earn my MBA. Okay, moving forward, a reminder, next week, we will have our weekly meeting here at the Las Colinas Country Club, and following the meeting, we will have our board meeting. Everyone's invited. If you have an idea or a concern, which we hope is more about ideas and how to progress and maximize all of our diversification and strengths, we'd love for you to attend, right, board members? Yes, everyone is welcome. Does anyone have an announcement to share that you have something you need to inform everyone with? Thank you. Lazara?
The Irving Marathon running series on next Saturday. We have the possible Colinas 5K with about 50 and then the dog part of walk run. So you guys are around dedicating your days of the moment, presenting that scholarship for a future student that they want to get here. So if anyone's around, a little bit on the participator volunteer, go to IrvingMarathon.com, and the event is called Las Colinas 5K in the dog park.
Thank you. I hope everyone joins Lazaro there and make a difference. Also, we'll have our 4-way test led by Dr. Carr. Thank you.
We can enjoy being 4-way test and make things safe for you. First, this is true. Second,
Fair to all concerned. Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
4.
Will it be beneficial? Thank you. So good to see everyone. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.